Both introverted and extroverted, the INFJ is often confused as an ambivert for their innate ability to mix and mingle with any crowd. However, deep down inside, INFJs are introverts at heart and tend to change the way they act according to different crowds and their comfort level around different personalities, even though others would never notice. Welcome, or welcome back, psychos! Before we get into it, we'd love it if you liked and subscribed to our channel, as well as to click the post notification bell so you never miss a video. Alright, let's get right into the video, starting with number 1. Large groups of people who they're expected to mingle with. First and foremost, let's get the most dreadful of all social settings out of the way. Large crowds of strangers aren't always the worst thing for the INFJ, who will gladly observe passerbyers. However, when this naturally introverted type is expected to commingle with the people within this crowd of strangers, that's when they check out. Luckily, they don't go blank like some introverted types. Instead, thanks to their extroverted feeling function, the INFJ resorts to chameleon mode. This is where they can easily tweak their rather quiet and noticeably observant selves to fit the energy of each smaller group they mingle with. Whether it's a large family gathering, an obligatory work party, or even a high school reunion, the most interesting aspect of this chameleon mode is that the INFJ rarely notices it's begun until it's over, and they're left with ruminating through the information they recollect. So, while INFJs may seem extremely convincing within social scenarios where they're expected to socialize, it can be confusing when they're not so keen on attending social gatherings that aren't mandatory. Number 2. Large crowds of people that they aren't expected to socialize with. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can get into the fun stuff. Turns out, INFJs actually enjoy being within large crowds. If they can find a front row seat on the sidelines, that is. The interesting aspect of an INFJ's introversion in particular is that they have an underlying need to continuously examine their surroundings, including the people and energies within it. Actually, this is one of the INFJ's favorite things to do. So, when it comes to large crowds of people where all they feel obligated to do is observe, this personality type actually quite enjoys themselves. In fact, a short amount of time spent in a positively infectious environment can be all an INFJ needs to feel less distant from the world, while still allowing them to be in their inner world. Number 3. Large crowds of people after the 3-hour mark. Large crowds where socializing isn't expected is only fun and games for so long. And it's not always the socializing aspect that makes large crowds seem rather uninviting and undesirable to this type. Since most INFJs would consider themselves to be an HSP, or highly sensitive person, it means that any overload of stimuli can easily become too much for them. This means that large crowds of different people, colors, noises, and voices can be entertaining at the start, but once they've gotten their fill, spending any more time in a high stimuli scenario can cause the INFJ to burn out and feel irritable far before anyone else feels the effects. This is where things like busy shopping malls, concerts, festivals, bars, and any other outing most people would consider fun comes with an underlying fear of overstimulation that makes it difficult for the INFJ to enjoy themselves fully. Number 4. Small groups of between 3 to 5 people. As the group gets smaller, the dynamic of the entire energy and comfort level drastically changes for the INFJ. The less people the better, because the more intimate and genuine the setting becomes. INFJs can instantly see the difference of topics of conversation when there are less people involved in the conversation. This difference in energy not only allows the INFJ to feel more comfortable, but it allows the other people involved to put their guard down, which we all know is a crucial component to creating a proper connection with an INFJ. However, with such concentrated energies, a small group dynamic can vary drastically depending on the people involved and their relationship with the people involved. If the INFJ knows everyone within the group, even if they've only met them a few times, the INFJ knows they won't be distracted analyzing anyone, which ultimately decreases their subconscious social distress. Nonetheless, INFJs usually end up taking the back seat of the conversation more times than not, listening rather than contributing, and only contributing if they're genuinely interested. Luckily, if the people involved know the INFJ, they won't be taken aback by this often perceived aloofness. However, as the number of people they don't know within the group increases, their comfort level decreases, and this means they may even turn on their chameleon-like ways to accurately obtain the information they need for their analysis of each individual. Paradoxically, they may seem more comfortable, but it's just their way of playing the role of sociable human for new oncomers. Number 5. One-on-one with a stranger. Like we said, the less people the better. No matter the setting, INFJs much rather socialize with someone on a one-on-one basis. While some people tend to be more reluctant to talk to strangers rather than their own people, INFJs are usually open-minded to allowing people to share their insights and personal experiences so they can learn through them. While they may not look very approachable in person, and may even take measures to not be approached by strangers, deep down, they're always willing to help or get to know someone. Of course, in an unpredictable scenario, INFJs allow the energy and demeanor of the other person to determine how they'll act. This is not only to keep the conversation mutual, but also to not have to open up to someone they don't know. When this interaction is with a stranger they won't meet again, they won't feel obligated to know which tidbits of personal information they should be sharing, because they don't share anything at all. Number 6. One-on-one with a friend. Now, when it comes to a one-on-one conversation with a good friend, that's where you'll find the INFJ's sweet spot. Whether the INFJ is genuine friends with someone already, or they're getting to know someone in hopes of a potential friendship, deep, thought-provoking conversations is the key to an INFJ's heart. This is where they can feel most like themselves, without any tweaking of their behaviors or distracting analyses of others involved. In these scenarios, INFJs usually feel comfortable sharing those deep insights and ideas they've become so accustomed to withholding from others. This is mostly because once they've figured someone out and actually enjoy them for who they are, the fear of being judged or misunderstood becomes silenced. And in the same sense, INFJs don't ask questions out of politeness or obligation when it comes to these one-on-ones. The only questions they ask are the ones in which they're honestly curious about the answer. In fact, this is how most of these intimate conversations come up, since a simple "how are you" can easily turn into a venting session for the INFJ who doesn't take "I'm fine" as an answer. Number 7. One-on-one with a potential lover. In some circumstances, lovers and friends are two of the same. Once someone has made it past the guards of the INFJ's surface personality, they begin to unveil themselves little by little. And once the INFJ has formed that love for an individual, you become one of their people, unless you do them wrong. However, getting to that point can be quite the game push and pull. A potential romantic connection comes with a unique aspect that friendships have on a much lesser scale. And that is the reluctance of vulnerability. And with the opportunity for open vulnerability comes a level of shyness that this introverted type can actually surprise themselves with at times. When the INFJ is getting to know someone on a romantic level, they don't feel brave enough to flirt until they have the slightest of foundation as to who that person is and how they'll perceive the gesture. And so, things can feel rather serious until this shy type is taken out of their shell. This can make these one-on-one conversations end up feeling like an interview until the INFJ is ready to give their piece. It's fair to say that when getting to know this reluctant type one-on-one, patience is a virtue. Well, psychos, that's it for today. So, let us know in the comments below if you can relate to these different social setting behaviors as an INFJ. Also, make sure to leave us a like, share with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a video.